another episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. A show made by 12s from around the world, for 12s around the world. I'm Mosette, and here is your host and my dad, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Mosette, and welcome to episode 611, the Rams edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show, as your Seattle Seahawks get ready to take on the Los Angeles Rams. And what can I tell you? I guess they're ramming it. I don't know. We want to try to explain their little theme song. But anyway, hey, I am so glad to be back here for our 136th episode of this show. Believe it or not. And we've got a posse here every show. And let's go ahead and start with our posse first. There is our news hound, Will. Hi, Will.
Hi, Moses. How are you?
I'm fantastic, sir. How are you this evening?
I'm doing well. Just sitting over here, slow clapping it out.
Yes, you've
ready
got
for the game.
Got to slow clap it out, everybody. We'll be slow clapping, I think, at the end of the show, without doubt. That's what we always do at our Ram show. And then, of course, someone who knows what slow clap's about, and that's Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
Yeah, you got to take medicine for that.
Yeah. If you slow clap for more than 4 hours, you should consult a doctor.
Yeah.
There's no doubt
what's going
about
on?
that. Yeah, not much. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Doing well.
Doing well.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. And also doing well, hopefully. Our man behind not stats man lines, our man behind enemy lines over in California, very strangely close to the 49er headquarters. It is stats man Mark. Hi, Mark.
Yes, and under high-powered wires. Turns out.
Really?
That actually explains a lot.
It doesn't affect you one bit, does it?
Oh man. Between that and just the air quality here,
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, no, things are well. Well.
Really?
I just was reflecting earlier that, for 5 or 6 years now, people have been telling us, watch out for the Rams, and then lo and behold, it happens.
It does.
That last part was extremely sudden, the way all of a sudden they were good.
Yeah, no, it did happen rather suddenly. It seemed like a change of a coach, and all of a sudden, wow, they go from 8-8 to 12-4, and you're like, wow. I agree.
Man.
I agree.
There's a reason why Jeff Fisher no longer is coaching anywhere in the NFL.
I think so.
I was just gonna say. I mean, he's like drinking a bottle under the arches in St. Louis. He's so disorientated.
He is.
What
He's having a bud if he's in St. Louis, but we won't go there. Sadly, the yin to my yang Matt from Merry Old England cannot be with us this evening. He's a little under the weather, bit of a fizzy wig and all that. Feel
Get
better,
well,
Matt. Yes, feel better, Matt. And we will try to push on without you for this episode. So let's do that. Gentlemen, let's get to it. Fergie.
Let's get it started in here.
Yes, the shows were like a real NFL football game, 4 quarters and a halftime. If you've never listened, quarter one will catch us up with the NFL news. We will also have a special headline and punchline where we will reveal the truth behind who Earl Thomas was actually flipping off on the way out of the stadium last week. So you get ready for that. That should be fun. Quarter two, Cardinals recap of the victory over those Arizona Cardinals, 20-17 last Sunday in the desert. Halftime is, of course, the best Seahawk-themed trivia game on the internet. I refer, of course, to 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia.
Underworld.
I believe Dustin going for a 4-peat.
Yeah, we call that a dynasty.
Oh, God. Oh, boy. A dynasty, gentlemen. Good luck stopping him. In quarter three, we have something special with Dustin and I. Is that correct, Dustin?
Yes, sir.
We have something called dueling trivia. It's compare and contrast, and we've done it before. But Dustin and I are going to both compare and contrast some things between Rams and Rams football teams. So like real Rams or Rams throughout history, or, that kind of thing, comparing it with the Los Angeles Rams.
There's a lot of famous Rams throughout history aside from football, so it's pretty easy to find topics.
It really was. So also injuries, weather and fashion, numbers, and in quarter four, we put all this information together about that Los Angeles Ram team, and we make our predictions, our prognostication, and game balls for this Sunday's game between your Seahawks and those Rams. But before we start, please like, share, subscribe to the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Join our Facebook group, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. We always have a great game day thread on there. We're also on Twitter. We're on email. Look for our downloadable podcast of this very show on iTunes and Podbean. And before we do all that, let's get to the news. Yes, news from around the NFL with our news hound Will, brought to you by this week's sponsor, the My Little Blocker quarterback doll. That's right, he runs, he throws, and he slides, and he blocks. He's your My Little Blocker quarterback doll. My Fat Kicker doll sold separately. Will, what you got for us?
Hi, Moses. I actually have a story about the other Los Angeles franchise.
Oh, the Lakers?
No, the Clippers.
The formerly, who have a big game with the Raiders coming up. And they are piping noise into their practice to prepare for all the Raider fans. What makes this story rather unusual is that the Chargers are playing at home. This is not a joke. They are piping crowd noise on speakers on their practice fields to prepare for Raider fans at their own stadium.
The ultimate insult.
Since moving to Los Angeles, the Chargers have had issues with visiting team fans in their stadium, but the Raiders especially still have a very large fan base in Southern California. Mm-hmm. And Moses, I think I gave you a picture to put up.
You did?
It's a forlorn-looking Charger fan surrounded by a sea of celebrating Raider fans. That picture was actually taken at the Raiders-Chargers game at Carson last year. So this is actually a sneak preview of what it will look like for Charger fans this Sunday at their own stadium.
Well, Mark, I know you one time a few years ago, you had gone to a Raiders game when the Raiders were like 0-10 or something. You remember that?
Yes.
And you were like just amazed with their fan base, weren't you?
I was. It was the NFL meets, how did I describe it? Beyond Thunderdome. The only one missing was Tina Turner, like crawling around on a big, anyway. Yeah. Those fans are, living in the past. Help me now.
But they're hardcore. Yes. They were like 0-10. You're like, 0-10, they were still out there screaming and hollering like they were 10-0.
Yep.
And that's awesome. And they do travel pretty well. But that's really sad for the Chargers, Dustin.
Yes, agreed. But screw them. So, yeah.
There you go. That's sad. I'm glad we don't have that problem. I don't know, following a team where your home games, you have to pipe in noise, that you have to go to silent count in a home game. That's sad. That's really sad. But, wow, what else you got for us, Will? I hope it's a little better than a home team playing a road game.
Just a bit. It actually has to do with the Jets-Browns game in Week 3, which everybody paid attention to because it ended up being Baker Mayfield's debut for the Browns and the Browns' first win since 2016. Yeah. Earlier in the game, though, Jets running back Isaiah Crowell, former Brown, scored a touchdown and drew a penalty flag when he pretended to wipe his butt with the football.
I remember that.
The league fined Crowell $13,369, but he's not going to be hurting for money to pay the fine because he has since picked up a promotional deal with Dude Wipes. This is a toilet paper substitute for men. And Moses, I think I sent you the link for that, and you can put that up on the screen.
Dude Wipes?
It's... Anyway, the company tweeted out...
It wasn't a link. It was a subscription.
Yes. They tweeted out photos of Crowell holding up boxes of Dude Wipes with the caption, "Thanks to Dude Wipes, I am now covered. Never leave home without them."
Dude, and you can get different sizes, guys. You can get like... Oh my God!
Seriously, you need to click on that link and check it out because
God,
it is entertaining.
Yeah, don't Google it. Don't Google image it.
not at work anyway. Not at work.
No, but Dude Wipes are a thing. Yeah. Wow.
Dude
Wipes.
How long has Dude Wipes been around as a company? It's interesting. I mean, I can see on a map.
Several years, actually. I looked at the About Us section of the site, and they've been in business since 2011.
Wow.
Well, see, I could see this on a map, like, it's like Police Squad kind of moment where they're trying to figure out where the best sales are, and all the pins are in the south and more along the eastern seaboard. I'm kind of maybe in the Ozark area. I don't know.
Well, wow. I thought a couple of years ago that 1-800-GOT-JUMP really should have signed up Marshawn Lynch after his famous touchdown celebration. So it's good to see companies jumping on the celebration bandwagon here.
That's awesome.
Dude wipes. Dustin, you got any?
I don't, man. No, I have not ordered mine. Will did not send me the link. Thanks a lot, Dick. I had a chance.
Watch the podcast. It will be right there.
And it's Will, not Dick. So let's make that perfectly clear.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Christmas is around the corner, Dustin. So I'm just saying.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, I might come up with a little extra Christmas money from Seahawk Claus. You might all wind up with do-rights. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, we can put that alongside. Who was it that had? Was it the shower pill or whatever? The Seahawks dude.
Yeah, Justin Forsett.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They also
Dude wipes,
make
kids. Dude wipes for everybody.
Dudeproducts.com is the website. They also make a shower wipe similar to the shower pill. So.
Wow. Who knew? Everyone's excited about the dude wipes. Well, that was. Thank you so much. We all needed we all needed to kind of cleanse ourselves after that. So thank you.
Will, does the packaging say if they're recyclable at all, or is
they are flushable, unlike standard baby wipes. So
bonus,
according to the website.
Bonus. So if you have a baby, I think if a guy, if you have a boy and you just you don't want to use just baby wipe, you dude wipes. I got dude wipes, right? Good.
Seriously, when this podcast goes up, maybe you should tweet it to @DudeWipes and see if we can get us another sponsor of our own.
That would be beautiful.
What, man. Just hearing about that, we do this gift exchange thing at Christmas with my wife's family. I think that's going to be my gift this year.
Yes.
I'm buy some dude wipes.
Dude wipes. We are gone. Dude wipes are now the unofficial sponsor of the 12 Man Fan Jam Show.
Yeah. Composting not recommended.
And I think a lot of people would say that dude wipes are needed for this show. I'm just saying.
We've had a couple shows where they really would have come in handy.
Yes, they would have.
Yes.
Wow, Will, thanks for those stories.
Anytime, Moses.
Yes, and usually, we end the first quarter, but there is one story that you just could not ignore that happened last weekend in the Seahawk game. In fact, when Seattle Seahawks safety Earl Thomas rode off on the cart last week, you can't ignore that he looked towards the direction of the Seattle Seahawks bench and flipped the middle finger fairly high and fairly angrily. But who was he really flipping the bird towards? Oh, sure, the experts have told you who the finger was aimed at, but let's be honest. We know here at the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. So let us attempt to answer this secret in this week's edition of Headlines and Punchlines. Headlines and Punchlines, we take in a story from the news and we add our own punchline to the headline. And in this edition, we try to come up with an answer to what everyone has been asking all week. Who was Earl Thomas flipping off? So our headline this week is Earl Thomas was flipping off. So Earl Thomas was flipping off. All right, Will, are you ready for the setup?
I am.
All right, Will. Earl Thomas was flipping off
Star Wars director Rian Johnson, because it is a little known fact that Earl Thomas absolutely hated The Last Jedi and took advantage of the opportunity to show Johnson what he thought.
There it is. Yes, Star Wars fans. Mark?
Yes, sir.
Earl Thomas was flipping off
Jermaine Infetti for giving away what kind of play we're about to run because his feet don't seem to be the correct alignment. It's one of those you had to be there.
Yeah, you got to be there.
Or had to read the article.
I get it. Dustin?
Go to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show page on Facebook if you want to know what the hell Mark was talking about.
Behind the scenes.
Oh, that's where I saw it.
Hey, Dustin?
Yes.
Earl Thomas was flipping off.
Earl Thomas was actually flipping off George R.R. Martin. Where's Wins Winner at, man? Everybody wants it. It's not done. Get your shit together.
Earl's a good reader. Yeah. I just got a couple. Earl Thomas was flipping off the fat old lady behind the Seahawk bench, screaming at Thomas to sign her left breast between quarters. He's just tired of her yelling at him.
I got two more as well.
Oh, okay, Dustin. Earl Thomas was flipping off.
Well, that's the thing. He wasn't trying to flip off anybody. E.T. was trying to make his finger glow. He had to heal that leg.
Oh, that's sweet.
Aw.
Earl Thomas was flipping off the little brat in the Tom Brady jersey holding up the Patriots Super Bowl 49 champion poster. There was one in the crowd, and he did not like him. Dustin, Earl Thomas was flipping off.
I like to think it was David Stern.
Seahawk fans are applauding that one. Yeah, Seattle fans are.
Hey, Moses, I've got one more.
Oh, Will. Earl Thomas was flipping off.
Dustin for winning trivia 3 weeks ago.
There you go.
There it is.
That's cool.
That
If
is
he acknowledges
bookend.
my presence,
Yeah.
I feel honored.
Well done. Earl Thomas was flipping off the doctor that fixed his last broken leg because he told Earl, quote, "You have legs of steel now." Yeah, apparently not. And finally, Earl Thomas was flipping off that stupid siren the Cardinals cranked for no reason.
Here,
All
here.
right, now you know. Now you know. And that's the end of the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
All right, coming up on this Rams edition of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, halftime trivia, weather, fashion, injuries, numbers, dueling trivia. But coming up in quarter two, we're going to take a look back at Sunday's victory over the Cardinals. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Hey, you're back, and welcome to the second quarter of episode 611 of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. This is the time when we look back on the game before this weekend, and of course, that was a Seahawk win over the Cardinals 20-17 in Arizona. Wasn't the prettiest wins, but it is a win, and it does go up in the win column, and the Seahawks are now 2-2 as they go into their game this weekend. So, Will, what's something really good that you saw in the Cardinal game last week?
Well, I like that they were resilient enough to actually pull out a win despite never converting a third down the entire game. But
Right.
specifically for something good, I'd like to point out Mike Davis, who
Yes.
not only showed up and was serviceable, the guy looked like a starting running back in this
Amen.
league. I mean, he was
Amen.
making guys miss. He was getting the tough yards. And I can't remember the last time a Seahawk running back has scored 2 rushing touchdowns in the same game.
Right.
So, I mean, I liked Davis last year. I thought he
Me
was
too.
he was the only reliable back we had. But he looks like he's taken his game to another level this year, and it's going to be fun to watch him going forward.
And I think him and Carson, and let's be honest, Penny had a pretty nice game too. I mean, I thought.
Yeah, Penny's looking.
Yeah.
He's not there yet, but he's been improving each week.
And
It's more like a quarter at this point.
yeah, I have a guy that comes down and watches the game with us now, and he's like, "Man, Davis." I said, Davis was getting 50, 60 yards with no line last year, and now he's actually getting some holes here and there. So I'm not all that surprised that Carson and Davis are doing so well because they were doing okay with the terrible line. So if you give them a halfway decent line, they're going to do pretty well. So, but yeah, I agree. Great. But talk about stepping up and making the most of the opportunities. Davis has done it 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row, he's had to step up. And 2 years in a row, he's made the most out of what he had, which is pretty amazing. Mark, what's something positive you saw?
You know what? Well, the fact that, speaking of the running game, I mean, I think we ran over 30 attempts, 33 for, I don't know, it was 100, 200 yards as a team. I mean, it was a great
172.
171
Okay.
or 172, yeah.
So stats man close. Good stats man. No, it was a great day.
Yeah.
As Will said, I mean, to think of 2 rushing touchdowns in a game at this point is mind-boggling. But Davis, anywhere he's been, I mean, he's in San Francisco and I forget where else, he's just always been kind of the bridesmaid. He's never been, his whole career is kind of, by committee, kind of a backup. But I mean, he ran great. I love the idea of him and Carson on the field at the same time. All of a sudden, I don't know.
Yeah, I do too, and really Penny as well. We can throw him in there, I think.
And then Fant at tight end. Oh, that sounds interesting. There's some article on that.
Or at least as the eligible.
You got to throw it to him at least once. Just this. I just want to see one tackle eligible pass this coming game, please.
34 attempts for 170 yards, by the way, 171. 34 attempts for 171 yards for the Seahawks last week, so that's pretty good. But the Cardinals were notorious for giving up a lot of yardage on the ground at this point. But yes, still, thank you very much. Great points. Dustin, what are your thoughts about the game? Something positive?
The interior line play. I really like the interior line play, and this is kind of a geeky football maybe coach thing that I really enjoyed. But my favorite play of the game was actually they did a stunt on the interior line where the left guard came across at the snap, and he took out a linebacker, just blasted him out of the way and opened up a hole there. And they actually re-showed it on the game. So I love the way the interior line was playing. So hats off to Mike Solari and this new blocking scheme, and then Shoddy for taking advantage of it in that game and letting him run all over him. Dude, that was awesome for me. Yeah,
it was. I think for me, someone that's kind of standing out to me this year already, and no one's really said anything about him. Well, we kind of have on the show. Jerron Reed, defensive lineman, he's had to stay out there on passing downs, and really we were always taking him out in passing downs before, just because I think he's better. Maybe they think he's better as a run defensive lineman, but he's been able to put pressure on the quarterback to the point where they put him out there on third downs now more. And he's really, I think, maybe the steal of that draft from a couple years ago, because I remember he dropped to like the third round, and they even said on the draft board, the only reason he's dropping is because people are picking running backs and quarterbacks and receivers. He's a first round quality that's in the third round. I remember them saying that like several picks before the Seahawks got him. They were like, this Jerron Reed, the only reason he's fallen is because people have other needs. And he fell right to us, I think, in round 3, and they were like, wow, there's your steal. And he's playing like a first round talent. There's no question about it. So happy with him for sure. Now, Will, some things to work on after this game, yes?
Yes, and for the love of heaven, could we just not play at Arizona for a while?
I would love that.
God.
I don't know what it is about that stadium, but I mean, we lose Chancellor and Sherman last year, and then this year we lose Thomas and Disley.
Before that, the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and the Super Bowl, and for some reason our kickers don't do well in the stadium.
No.
Either. Hauschka had problems. Janikowski did this past week, but losing Disley is the one that's really that one really hurts, just because he was having such a great rookie season, and you watched him as a blocker. He was really having a positive impact in the running game and in the pass game.
Oh yes.
And we don't get Ed Dixon coming for another couple of weeks. We're going to be playing Fant at the blocking tight end position. But yeah, losing Disley, I think, is really going to hurt.
I agree, and it becomes such a great pass catching and such a talented young man. It's so weird to hear when I asked Russell Wilson who he thought the most talented guy in camp was, he said Will Disley, which everyone's going, what? Because he's a tight end. What are you talking about? But, he did show a lot of natural athletic ability the first 3 games. And by the way, on Twitter, if you have him on Twitter, he's been very upbeat about this whole thing. He went through surgery great. He said, hey, I'll be back. I'm not worried. He's just very upbeat about the whole thing. So
that makes a difference. Cool. Your attitude makes a huge difference.
He's had a great one. He's got a great one. And I think he's a crowd favorite already. So I agree with you. That losing Disley was a big deal. Mark, what was something you think we need to work on?
Well, to touch on this topic here, it's almost like the Cardinals have it's like that Brady Bunch episode where there's this evil tiki kind of hanging around one of the kids' necks, and all this horrible shit happens. So it's either a curse, or the whole stadium is on a burial ground. Yeah. That'd be another classic. The spirits. Anyway, all right.
Pet Cemetery 3.
You know what? I got to give this guy a little flack. Boy, does Seabass make the kicking game interesting. Because by the end of that game, I was like, well, I'm not going to stress out over this, but he should finally be able to hit, something. Yeah. And I think he's more comfortable from 51 or 2 yards than he is from 38 or 45.
Seems that way, doesn't it?
The kicking game is interesting, but hey, he still got the game winner, and I loved his reaction.
Yeah.
So I guess the bad in that is that it just, the game would have been a little easier if he hit at least one field goal earlier, but I'll take a game winner. you know.
Yeah. So hey, Coach Carroll, where are we playing this week? In Arizona. Arizona.
Holy, dude, that was awesome. That or the you know, did you know that Infetti's feet were not quite? No, go ahead.
Go ahead, finish.
No, I'm cutting myself off because I already commented on.
Infetti's feet will give things away.
Dude, wait, really quick, Des, what is that instrument that makes the kind of like the rattle noise? I love that.
Oh, I don't know. That's a call.
That is like a very 1970s.
It is. It is.
You know, sound effect.
Yeah, it is.
I know Will and Dustin are like,
what the hell is that? But you know,
or what the heck?
I'm gonna say vuvuzela because it's fun to say.
Fair enough. Hey, Dustin, what was something you think we got to work on?
Honestly, the biggest disappointment for me in this game was the game plan. It's been talked about since then that they wanted to play conservative against this rookie quarterback because they didn't know what it was they're going to be seeing from him. Yeah. And I have a lot of issues. I have a huge problem with that because Pete Carroll has always coached that we're going to do what we do. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. We're going to do what we do, and we're going to use that to our advantage because, you know, you do what you do, you keep it simple, you perform well that way. Yep. They went away from their philosophy, let the opposing team's rookie quarterback dictate what the game plan was going to be like. Good point. And that's not something that I appreciate at all. We definitely cannot be doing that if we want to stay true to ourselves and continue to thrive as a team.
I agree with that. That's a great point. That was what I mean, and I can remember Super Bowl week. You know, back in the glory days, the glory hole days, as Jerry would say. Right. But I can remember Jaworski on the radio when they talk about the Seahawk defense going to the Super Bowl. He goes, you don't have to watch film on this defense. In 5 minutes, I can tell you what they're doing. That's not the point. It's just that what they do so well that you can't.
I feel like it was more, just to clarify, I feel like it was more of an issue on offense so than defense. Because they didn't unleash Russell at all.
Yeah.
They were conservative in not allowing him to make mistakes.
Yeah.
So they should have let Russell play.
They need to let Russell play more. I agree. It seems like they bottled him up the last 3 or 4 games, and I don't know if that's maybe that hamstring thing. Although he claimed today that he's just getting prehab, like it's like rehab. It's prehab. It's like he gets a treatment done, so they have to put it on the thing because he's got a treatment done. But it's just the treatment as a precautionary thing. But
I said I pulled my hamstring in the fourth quarter of that game too if I threw a pick six, so I get it.
But so we'll see. For me, 0-10 on third downs, winning the game is fortunate, borderline insanity. 0-10 on third downs is just not acceptable ever, and that's something that's got to be worked off.
Part of it was ring rust though from Baldwin because he had 2 catches? 3 catches
that were like a yard short.
Yeah, and he wasn't running his route all the way out there. He's a little short.
And then you have that 3rd and 1 where we called for this bizarre pass play, and Russell has to run all the way around over the mulberry bush and throw it away.
Yeah. My God, 171 yards. Thanks for bringing that up again. 171 yards rushing on 3rd and 1 or 4th and whatever, and we're throwing it?
Yeah, I
Stop
agree.
being cute, man. Run the freaking ball.
Amen. And I said, when they went for it the second time, it was 4th and 1, and they ran. And I said, okay, if they don't get this, I'm okay with the call because at 4th and 1, you're saying a good team gets a 4th and 1 in the NFL by running the ball. I like that idea. So if we didn't get that one, I would have been okay. But that pass play on 4th and 3 or whatever, I didn't agree.
It's not like we haven't gotten into trouble in the past by throwing it when we only needed a yard.
As Bear
in that building,
and as Bear Bryant said, when you throw the ball, three things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. So, it's a risk. You got to have somebody open. They got to catch it, and it's anyway. Yeah,
it's a very Seahawks stat to be 0-10 on third down and somehow win because we're always involved in games like this throughout our history. Usually, it works against us. Like despite being 9 out of 10 on third down, we lose the game or something.
Mark, you know
7 and 9 to make the playoffs.
Mark, you know what it is. It's because the game was in Arizona. All right.
God, I love that.
Yeah, you too. Okay.
What is it from?
It's almost good. That's from the Brady Bunch, man. That's the Tiki Idol theme.
Oh, okay.
It was Cursed Tiki Idol. Let's not go into the Brady Bunch thing. That's a geek check. We'll talk later. Okay. 2-minute warning time.
Holy shit, it's a 2-minute warning.
Yeah, it's 2-minute warning. Let's check our posse prediction challenge because it's always fun to see how often the posse's getting throttled by 5
It's like
of our listeners.
It's like the national debt. We are just rapidly.
We need to find a better game.
We're fiddling while it burns. Here we go. First on the scores last week, Mark Ty Turner got 3 points because he said Seattle would score 20. I got 3 points because I said Arizona would score 17. Pascal got the best for the closest, 23-13, 20-17. He was only 3 or 4 off on each. Prognostications, nobody. Nobody got it. Game ball, really nobody. There's nobody on that list. Nobody I could give a game ball to. I'm sorry. Just kind of a weird game. The over and under was under, which means Jose, Little Mo, Mark Ty Turner, Mike Pascal all got a point. And means this week looks like this. Mark Ty Turner with 4, Moses with 3, Pascal with 2, Jose with 1, Little Mo with 1. Which means individual scores, and you can see where it's starting, the cream's starting to rise to the top here. Mike Pascal at 11, Mark Ty Turner at 10, Little Mo at 8.
What's a trop?
The top, not the trop. Little Mo at 8, Tom at 7. So we're at the 5th spot before one of us shows up, which is Matt at 7. And then Jose at 5. And then the bottom 4, guess what? Moses 5, Dustin 4, Will 4, Mark 3. So after 4 games, the score is Team 12, 41, Team Posse, 23. It's almost double. Almost double.
It's going to be a lot too little already.
Oh, boy. Yes. So let's put that madness behind us for right now, and let's go to halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
All right, coming up, so much more show than I can even talk about. Will there be more Tiki Idol music? Will we be buying dude wipes for everybody on the show? And what in the world is ramming it anyway? All these answers and more just around the corner, but first, it's another wonderful edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia, and that's coming up next!
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. And here's your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity. Yes, thank you, me, and welcome to another fine edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia
of the world.
The trivia game that tests the knowledge of both our posse and our listeners. Our contestants are the posse themselves, Dustin, Statsman Mark, and Will. And yo, here come the rules, yo. So here's how the trivia game works. There'll be 2 rounds of questions. Each contestant answers 1 question each round. If they get it correct, they get 1 point. After 2 rounds of questions, there'll be a final trivia question worth 2 points. If there's a tie after that, then the tie players go on to a special secret overtime question where the winner becomes reigning 12-Man Fan Jam Show Trivia Champion and also gets a prize chosen especially for them. As an added bonus to those listening on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, the questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen so you, the viewer and listener, can play along as well. If you do, please let us know how you did on the questions. Remember, there's no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, no wagering. However, there is a lifeline. Before taping this show, my 2 charming Seahawk fan children, Mosette and Little Mo, did take the quiz as well. If the contestants want to know what the kids said, they can ask that but once and only once during the entire game show and only in the first 2 rounds. Now let's get ready to play 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia.
They weren't privy to what we just talked about on the break, sir.
I know. Well, that's okay. We were keeping it real on the break.
Pretty gangster.
And now we're going to go through.
Gangster.
You guys know the rules. No Googling, no phone friend, no wagering, no any kind of assistance of any kind. Our returning champion is Dustin. So, Dustin, question 1, 2, or 3?
No, I'm gonna switch it up this week and go with number 1.
Number 1. Dustin is number 1.
I know.
Mark, 2 or 3?
Go 3.
Will?
I'll take 2.
All right. As usual, there are 2 questions about the Seahawks and Rams, and 1 question not quite about either team. Here we go. But still relevant in some weird, strange way.
Kind of.
Yeah. All right, Dustin, your question is football question. The last time the Seahawks beat the Rams at home, it was 2016. How many times was Jared Goff sacked in that game? 2, 3, or 4? How many times was Goff sacked in 2016? 2, 3, or 4? I think that's the game he was coming down the sideline and Richard knocked him into the third row.
Popped him.
Yeah,
he hit him pretty good. I'll say, I don't know, man. I will say we sacked him 4. I'll say 4.
Being positive. You're going 4 to be positive. That's the highest number.
Yeah.
Okay. Little Mo said 4. Mosette said 2. You said 4. Yeah! You got it.
If I was wrong, I was going to say that Richard Sherman pop was still worth 4. So
It was. Dustin's on the board, guys. All right, Will. Yours is also a football question. Mark, you know what that means. Will.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. In their last game in St. Louis against the Rams was 2015. How many times was Russell Wilson sacked in that game? 5, 6, or 7? How many times was Russell sacked in 2015 in St. Louis? 5, 6, or 7? Sad that those are the options, but they're there.
God.
Well, we got some offense in that game.
Was that the one where Russell ran for 1 million yards?
No, that was.
That'd be a record.
What year was that?
That was 2014 where he.
Hey, real quick,
got
tell you a
all the
story.
rushing yards.
That's the last game I went to in St. Louis, and when he ran for those yards, and the St. Louis fans, they were great, they really were, and there was this couple behind me, and they really felt bad because my son cried when they lost because he was younger. But anyway, they're like, he's amazing, and I turned around, I said, I've bought 1 player jersey in the last 6 years. Guess who it is? They said, I'd buy a 3. I said, yep, that's it, and we all laughed. But, they're like, you're awful lucky. I said, well, someday you will. And look what happened. They got Goff. Sorry. How many times was Russell sacked in 2015? 5, 6, or 7?
I'll go for 6.
He'll go for 6. Not as optimistic, but still. 6. Mosette said 6. Little Mo said 5. You said 6. Yeah.
Nice.
Will's on the board. Nice job.
Whoop, whoop.
All right, Mark. You know what that means?
What was the number 1 hit in 19? Go ahead.
Well, here you go. It's about Los Angeles. What is unique about the Los Angeles Coroner's Office? The Los Angeles Coroner's Office. Does it have an arcade in the lobby? Does it have a gift shop, or does it have a restaurant inside it? What makes the Coroner's Office in Los Angeles unique? An arcade game in the lobby, a gift shop, or a restaurant inside? A coroner's office. Just think of that.
I even used to know the coroner's name because he was always featured in celebrity deaths. You just read about this guy.
Yeah.
Thomas Noguchi. It's too bad you didn't ask me who the coroner is. That'd be a very
nice
moment.
What college
by
the coroner
knowing
went
that.
to?
That's sad.
Yeah, that'd be a good lamp moment. Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna go because, I just kind of spelled it out. Because lots of celebrities end up there. We're gonna go with the Stiff Gift Shop.
The
Gift the Stiff or
the Stiff Shop.
All
right.
Cup of Stiff.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, Mosette said that it had an arcade game in the lobby. Little Mo said it had a restaurant. You said the gift shop. Yeah.
Nice.
The coroner's office in Los Angeles has a gift shop in it.
Wow.
So
I reasoned that out like Freddie.
You did. You did. That was nice.
That was nice. I like that.
Nice.
If it had been a restaurant, I would have been concerned about the specials.
Hey,
yeah, no kidding.
Here's what's weird.
Like Spaceballs.
Yeah, I was wondering if I was going to catch on.
Would you like ghost pepper on your salad?
Hey, Mark, you know what's weird? Everybody got the first question right.
That is weird.
All right.
Oh, then you jinxed it with that awesome 70s.
Yep. Now we're all gonna
miss.
Wrong.
Yep. Hey, Dustin, 4, 5, or 6.
And then we're all gonna find some way to get the last question right too, and we're all gonna tie.
That'd be awesome.
I'll stick to the first one. I'll go 4.
Mark?
Let's see. I'll go first.
You want to go 5 or 6?
I guess 5 in this case.
Okay.
Thank you, Lamp.
5 would be first.
We'll get 6.
After 6 or before
Okay.
6.
We'll okay. All right, here we
Hopefully
go.
I'm just here for this so I don't get fined.
Yeah. Hey, Dustin.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah. The only playoff game between the Rams and the Seahawks is 2004. How many times? I know. How many times did the Seahawks sack Mark Bulger in that game? 5, 6, or 7? How many times did the Seahawks sack Mark Bulger in 2004 playoffs? 5, 6, or 7?
Well, I can tell you that was the first game I took my little brother to when he was a Rams fan,
Yeah.
and I did not enjoy that.
You know, Bulger was a tough guy. You got to give it to him. He was one of the toughest quarterbacks I've ever seen in a Rams uniform. That guy.
I'm sorry. As soon as you mentioned that game, you asked me a question. I didn't hear it. Sorry.
How many times did the Seahawks sack Bulger in that game? 5, 6, or 7?
Hopefully, I don't know, 6. I'll say 6.
You'll say 6? Mosette said 5. Little Mo said 7. You said 6. I'm sorry. It was
Frickin'
5.
Bobby Ingram.
5, but yeah, I know. But man, oh man, Bulger. We would beat the tar out of Bulger, and he'd just get right back up every time, man. It was amazing.
That was the first game I took my brother to, who's a Rams fan. I'm actually going to the game this weekend with him, too, and then he's getting married next week.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations, Dustin's brother.
I actually took him to his first concert when he was 13. We went to the Anger Management Tour, Eminem, 50 Cent.
Dang.
Yeah, D12.
That kid came out smoking cigarettes and was in juvie ever since.
Yep, and my parents have not talked to me since.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
Football question. Well, you know what that means.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, the last time the Seahawks played the Rams in Seattle, we don't want to talk about the score. How many total touchdowns? How many total touchdowns did Gurley have? That'd be rushing and receiving. How many touchdowns did Gurley have? 3, 4, or 5? How many touchdowns for Gurley against the Seahawks last year when they played in Seattle? 3, 4, or 5?
Wow, golly, and those are the options.
I know.
And I'm off on my numbers in general because with Matt here, 5 would have been the. Never mind. Let's see. 3, 4, or 5. Boy. Yeah, I'm going to be optimistic, and I will say 4.
An optimistic 4. Mosette said 4. Little Mo said 3. You said 4. Yeah. 4.
Oh, wow.
I think 3 rush, 1 receiving, maybe something like that. I don't know.
So much for that.
That was
curse.
so brutal.
Yeah.
I tried to repress all the memories from that game, so I would have had to just guess.
That one was nasty. Okay. Will, obviously not a football question. In what year was the movie Escape from L.A. released with Snake Plissken? Was it 1994, 1995, or 1996? Snake Plissken, Escape from L.A.
Star-Lord's father.
When was it released?
Oh, that's right. I was thinking Escape from New York. It's like, wasn't it 81?
Well, Escape from New York, this is the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the options again?
94, 95, or 96. I love Escape from New York. It's one of my all-time favorite films.
I got to go 96.
I like when he says, what are you doing yourself, Plissken? Play with myself. I'm going in. What year did you say?
96.
Sorry. Had Snake Plissken flashback there. 96. Mosette said 96. Little Mo said 94. You said 96. Yeah, 96. Well done. All right. Well, let's see here. Dustin has a point. Will and Mark both have 2. And it is now time for the final question. All right, Jim, you know how this works. High, low, it will be a number. The one closest without going over gets 2 points. Pretty sure here, yes, there will be a champion. There will be no overtime. So the order will be Dustin first, Will second, and Mark third. And here is your final question. The first time the Seahawks beat the Los Angeles Rams was 1991. How many passing yards did Dave Craig have in that game? Dave Craig passing yards from 1991 will win you the championship tonight. Dustin, what you got?
An answer, Dennis. I have an answer for
All
Mudbone, who I've met before.
Oh, yeah, great guy.
He came through our tailgate one time. It was pretty cool.
He's awesome.
Let's see. This was what year?
91. I have probably heard more.
What year did you say that was?
91. I've probably heard more great stories about people meeting Dave Craig than just about any other Seahawk. I mean, everyone's like, oh, Dave Craig's just awesome. I've heard like 20 people tell me, I've met Dave Craig and he's just fantastic. That's awesome. How many passing yards did he have in that
if I can find the picture, I'll... Oh, I'm sorry. All right. I'll give you the picture so you can throw it on the podcast if I can find it. But I will say, back then, they did, I don't know, 250. I'll say 250.
I'll say 250. Will, how many yards?
I'm gonna say he did a little better than that. I'm gonna say 311.
311. 250, 311. Mark.
Oh boy, 250, 311. This is 1990.
1991. The Seahawks beat the Los Angeles Rams in Seattle.
Right. You know what? This had to have been. Oh, man, I'm trying. That was not a very good season.
No, it was right before the wonderful '92 season. Yeah.
Right. That's true. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that one. Oh man. Okay. For the sake of keeping the show moving, I'm gonna say it was a good day. We gotta go. We gotta go happy, and I'll do the token 312.
312.
You suck.
Well, I'm so rarely in this position to do the screwing instead of getting screwed all the time. That it's anyway.
Mark,
Matt, you're in our hearts now.
Mark finally gets the screw. Hallelujah. All right, you heard it here first. Okay, so.
Oh man, so either Dustin or Mark is gonna get it. This sucks.
Dustin said 250. Will said 311. Mark said 312. One of you are on the button. Not really. I just wanted Will to feel good. Actually.
Oh, whatever. What am I 1 over again?
The actual amount of passing yards that Dave Craig had in a 1991 win against the Los Angeles Rams in Seattle was 164.
Oh, no.
The 4-peat is real.
Ooh.
The 4-peat is real.
I'm kind of embarrassed for this one.
Oh my God. The Patriots of Trivia, Dustin Knight. Congratulations, Dustin, again.
Thank you. It's a dynasty now. Officially a dynasty.
We're not gonna order that trophy here.
No.
All right.
Goodness.
Order that trophy for you, buddy. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Wow, 4 in a row. I don't know what the record is. I think the record is 4 in a row, so you'll be going for the record next week.
I guess, man. Honestly,
you won't be here.
I we should all be disqualified for this one.
Yeah, probably. Oh my God. Hey, listen, this has been another crowd-pleasing, heart-stopping, award-winning, 4-peat edition of your 12-man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia. We'll be back.
Of the world.
Of the world.
I just felt like
I'm
celebrating.
so excited that you won. I can't stand it. I got Thundercats going on. Sorry. We'll be back with the second half of the show. Thundercats, take us out.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
I'm surrounded by idiots! Idiots!
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
Yes, welcome to the third quarter of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Hey, you! Yes, you ramming it. Stop that, but like, share, and subscribe to the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Join our Facebook group, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Get our iPod, Podbean, podcast, whatever you call it, on the iTunes, on the interwebs. Do it now before he flips you off. Oh no, too late. All right, it's time for our Seahawks to take on the Los Angeles Rams, and that means it's time for a very special compare and contrast. This is called Dueling Trivia. In Dueling Trivia, I and another posse member take on shots at trivia about the opponent. This week, the posse member with me is Dustin, and the trivia topic is the Los Angeles Rams. So he will give a difference between the Rams and Los Angeles Rams and actually something Ram related in real life, as I will do the same. For example, Dustin, go ahead.
Ram is another name for bighorn sheep, similar to Los Angeles being another name for St. Louis.
Nice. Rams are often used as symbols of virility and power. The Los Angeles Rams are often used as symbols of mediocrity and overrating.
Oh.
Dustin.
Rams are ruminant animals, meaning that their season for mating is called the rut. And it happens in the fall. Yes, you will get a roughing the passer call for doing that to a QB.
The key traits to someone born under the zodiac sign Aries the Ram are ambitious, independent, and impatient. The key traits to someone born under a Rams football family are disappointment, disenchantment, and disillusionment.
Oh.
Animals often have a name for their groups. A group of lions is a pride. A group of birds is a flock. A group of rams is called a buffet line.
Hurishaf was an ancient Egyptian god with the head of a ram and a fertility god who was born from the primordial waters. Los Angeles Ram fans are usually born from a dare after too many beers.
Ooh.
Dustin?
Bighorn rams are herbivores. Sorry, ladies.
Ouch. And finally, Dustin?
The towing capacity of a 2017 Ram 1500 Bighorn tops out at 10,660 pounds, which is why several trucks have to be rented for LA's cheerleader appearances.
Oh. Going with the cheerleaders at the end. Well done. All right. Well, hey, let's see how healthy these teams are by turning to our doctor, Dr. Dustin, with the 12-Man Fan Jam Show injury report. Dr. Dustin, tell us the news.
Doctor, give me the news.
All right, we're going to start out a little different this week. We'll go with the Rams first.
Okay.
Out for the game is the kicker, Greg Zuerlein, or however you say that. His wee hurts. He's not going to play. Got a groin injury.
Is that what it says on the report? Wee hurts. Is that what it
says?
It
does, yeah.
Was it done by a 5th grader?
Possibly. Questionable for the game is Tyler Higbee. He's a tight end for the team. It really doesn't matter as far as the pass game goes because they've targeted tight ends 9 times out of 135 passes. And then we... So yeah, whatever.
That's funny.
Inside linebacker, though, Mark Barron, who's actually a really decent player, had an ankle injury. He hasn't played this season, is questionable, but he's actually probably going to play according to what the coach was saying. Going back to the Seahawks here, absolutely out, KJ Wright. Unfortunate. He still has those issues. He can't play.
Yeah, that experimental knee procedure is now in its 4th week.
Yeah, we're really experimenting with that.
Yeah.
Rasheem Green is out.
That's disappointing.
It is very disappointing. Yeah. He's got an ankle injury still he's trying to work through. I think probably the most disappointing one to me, though, aside from Earl Thomas, is Disley being out. He's got that patellar tendon injury.
Yeah.
And I just want to, I know everybody knows he's out, but I just want to take a second to talk about that because he has a similar injury to what Jimmy Graham had a few years ago.
Yeah.
And that's one of those that it's hard to come back from. My hopes are that because he's younger than Jimmy was when Jimmy suffered the injury, and it's been a couple years, so the techniques to heal it hopefully have evolved a little bit, that when he comes back, he's going to be better than he was before. So, thoughts and prayers of that guy, hoping he's back stronger than ever before.
100%. And if you're on his Twitter, he has been very, very upbeat and positive through the whole process. I'm coming back, guys. Thanks for your support. His surgery went great. I'm ready to get back at it. He seems very, very upbeat. So that's great to hear, too.
Questionable this week, Ethan Posick with his ankle. Honestly, the way things have been going with the offensive line, even if he was 100% healthy, I don't expect to see him in there.
Right.
So it's probably a non-starter at this point.
True.
Apparently, Frank Clark had a sleepover at Matt's house.
What?
Yeah.
He's sick.
Yeah, he's sick. He's got the flu or something. He's sick. He's questionable. He might not play. And then,
but he might, and it's because of an illness. Like it's not nothing physical, right? It's
right. It's not an injury. It's some kind of illness thing. That's why I think he's hanging out with Matt.
So that could literally be a game day decision. Like if he can get out there and not throw up, they may let him go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or if he can get out there and throw up on the Rams instead of his team.
Well, I think last weekend in a college football game, they showed a guy throwing up more than a couple of times, and that was all I needed to see. I was done.
Funny you mentioned game time decision. CJ Prosize, who didn't show up on the official injury report, has come down with a case of fish odor syndrome. And if you're curious about fish odor syndrome, haven't heard of it, it's a disorder that causes the sufferer's breath, sweat, and urine to give off a strong fishy smell. So he might not be playing because of that, guys.
Ew.
Wow.
Something's kind of smells rotten in Denmark.
Yeah, and it's Prosize.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Precisely. All right. Well done. Is that it?
That's all of them, man.
All right. Thank you so much, as always, Dr. Dustin, with that news report about who's in and who's out with the injury report. Now, this time we usually take a look at what the weather is going to be for the game by turning to a guy living in another country. But because Matt from Merry Old England is not here, it will come down to a guy in Indiana, me. So without any more ado about nothing, it's time for the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Weather and Fashion Report with Moses. Oh, Moses!
It's raining man.
Oh, thank you very much, me. Okay, let's see here. October in Seattle, the leaves change, the wind gets a little stronger, and the morning mist gets a lot nastier. Pumpkin spice fills the air like the smog in Los Angeles. Look for a kickoff temp between 55 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That's right, Fahrenheit, because Celsius is for metric-loving bitches. And about a 20% chance of rain, which in Seattle means about a 50% chance of having to wring out your Seahawk jersey after the game over a bathtub. As for fashion, I'm absolutely no fashion expert, trust me. I remember once as a teenager, my mother actually making me go back inside and change because I wore a purple shirt with green shorts, and her eyes burned when she looked at the sun and looked down at the sun for 3 days after seeing me. What I'm trying to say is that was a true story. I actually tried to wear green shorts and purple shirt together. I don't know what I was thinking. So anyway, wear what you want.
You're trying to be the Incredible Hulk, man.
Yeah, I was. So wear what you want as long as it supports the Seahawks. Also take a lot of cough drops, or in this case, would they be cough drops? If you're going to go to the game, because we need you to take great care of that voice on Friday and Saturday, because the Seahawks are going to need you at full voice on Sunday. Take those cough drops to keep your throat nice and pain-free when you're screaming for the Rams at the Rams offense. Also eat lots of roasted lamb before the game, of course, with girly fries. And by the way, the Rams love it when you bah at them. Remember that. So that is your weather and fashion report with me. And now a guy that always has our number, the man with numbers and tokens all around him. It is time for Statsman Mark and the 12-Man Fan Jam Show by the numbers for our game and maybe a couple of teasers. Mark, what you got?
Ricky, don't lose that number. Ricky, don't lose that number. Ricky, don't lose that number.
Well, Dennis, if recent history is any trend, the numbers aren't coming in the way I'd hoped. But despite that, we
Mark sounds like he's like the chairman for the Democratic National Committee on election night. Is what he sounds like. This is not what we wanted. It's not going very well. Go ahead.
Well, oddly enough, I'm doing slightly better than that now. But so anyway, last week, we'll recap here. Last week, I was laughing. See, this is what I get. I was laughing at my neighbors up the street.
Yeah, and you were laughing about the 10-point spread. You were like,
yes.
ha, 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 ha. Yeah.
And, of course, that was a loss. San Diego, minus 10.5. That was not close. Miami, I thought, Miami is finally going to go into New England.
Right.
And
you were so hopeful. You're like, man, this is it. It's going to happen.
And I've never seen a dolphin leave an area with so many slings and arrows in its backside. It's just like that thing just got Flipper got
unsafe tuna. Yeah.
Oh man. But I did manage a tie. That was Detroit.
You got to push.
I love how the Lions are involved. +3. And so Detroit, oddly enough, saved me from complete humiliation.
So like the Steelers, you were 0-2-1 basically.
Very good. Yes, and for the season, that makes us, or makes me rather. I won't share the blame with everybody, but 4-7-1.
4-7-1. All right.
So not a bad batting average, but anyway.
No.
So now this week, this is very entertaining. Okay, the Seahawks are 7.5-point underdogs. Boy,
right.
Times changed. And what's great is the over/under on this game is 50.
What?
Yes, now exactly. And you know what Vegas is saying. What is Seattle averaging points per game? Maybe we're a little better, but for them to have this at 50 points, I think they're trying to say. So what they're saying is the Rams could score a lot of points.
Well,
because why would this with their defense? Why would it be?
I think they're thinking probably roughly 30-20 is what they're probably thinking.
Yep.
That's probably about right.
That would work. So when I saw that, I just started to laugh. I'm like, oh boy,
that's funny.
We're
that wouldn't work if the Seahawks had the 30.
It'd be better.
We're having to borrow Buffalo's wagon so we can circle them because this is
sad but true. Hey, Mark, who are your 3 teasers this week?
Oh, and the 3 teasers. You're right. You see, I keep forgetting.
It's your segment.
Well, let's see. And now the key thing to remember again is you might want to fade my picks, which means go complete opposite of what you're about to hear.
Hey, listen, if you've got like a bunch of money, you need to like get a second mortgage on the house. Don't listen to the next 3 minutes.
Precisely. Yeah. Okay. And these are very square bets, which means that this is what Vegas loves, the guy off the street. So I am saying Lamp says Kansas City Chiefs -3 at home hosting Jacksonville.
All right.
The Titans on the road. I don't even know how to. I can't even figure Tennessee out. Somehow they're 3-1. But I'm going to go on the limb and say they will beat the Bills in Buffalo. They're -3.5. And finally, a gimpy Rodgers is better than no Rodgers at all. And so we're going for the ultimate sucker bet of the week, which is the Packers minus only at 1.5. In Detroit. And I think all of his starting receivers are out, but somehow Rodgers will find a way.
Yes, he will. That Bills Titans game, that game could be 50-0 either way. You don't know either one of those teams what they're going to do.
Well, I think it'll just be a lot of running. I mean, you got. Tennessee's just a weird. I mean, they had an incredible comeback a week ago, and no.
Yeah, I know. All right, well done. Thank you, sir.
Steve.
Quick disclaimer, these numbers have been presented for entertainment purposes only. The 12-Man Fan Jam Show does not endorse betting on anything at any time. Please do not take these or anything we say on this show seriously ever, or there may be serious issues. All right. And that is the end of the third quarter.
There's a reason I'm renting instead of owning. So there you go. That's a good way to sum up.
There is a reason he's renting instead of owning. All right, that's the third quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
Coming up next, it's time for our predictions, our prognostications, and game balls for the Rams game. You are listening to 12-Man Fan Jam Show. We are never ramming it for you. We will be right back.
Hello, everybody. This is Statsman Mark. And when I'm not listening to Charo's greatest hits on 8-track tape, I'm listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show.
Holy shit, it's the fourth quarter.
Oh, yes. It's time for the fourth and final quarter of this episode of 12-Man Fan Jam Show. I just went into like 5 different accents for no reason. I don't know. Hey, listen, in this quarter, we're going to make our predictions, our prognostications, and of course, our game balls for the upcoming game between your Seattle Seahawks and those Los Angeles Rams. So this should be interesting. Now our picks, Team 12, Jose said, okay. Prognostication, Hawks get more rushing yards than the Rams. Game ball to Lockett with 2 touchdowns. And the score with my heart, 38-35 Seahawks. Tom, honestly, I have a feeling we're going to get throttled Sunday. Oh, 35-20 Rams.
That guy, kick him off the page.
Russ will be responsible for both touchdowns, either throwing or getting to running in. So he said no game ball. I'm giving the game ball to Wilson. Okay. Little Mo said, I guess I'll be positive. Nice. 23-20. Janikowski with the game-winning field goal, and he's giving his game ball to Janikowski. Mark Ty Turner. Not a chance. This whole season looks bleak, and I'm usually an optimist. I think we'll be 3-3 by the bye, but we're staring at 6-10. We'll split with the Niners and beat the Cards. That leaves the win at Detroit or the Packers at home on a Thursday night. The rest of the schedule is brutal at Carolina, at Rams, Vikings, and Chiefs at home. Maybe a win versus the Chargers. As for this week, Rams win 35-17. Game ball to Baldwin, who finally scores a touchdown, and he says, I turn this game off before it ends. All right.
That is prognostication. He turns it off before it ends.
These guys are awesome.
I know.
That's not fair.
Mike, this is why they're winning.
Prognostication to 6-10.
No, his prognostication is going to be Baldwin with a touchdown. All right.
You're supposed to be on our side, dude.
Baldwin is on our side.
You're supposed to be on our side, not let the
Nationwide is on your side.
Mike Pascal. We played him week 5 last year, but in LA and lost. They beat us 42-7 at home in week 14. Like the 300 Spartans at Thermopylae, the Hawks are valiant, fearless, passionate, and grossly outnumbered. I will refrain from any sacrificial lamb jokes, but will admit my undying, lifelong love for the team is outweighed by my egotistic greed to win this stupid contest.
Nice.
Los Angeles A-holes 28, Seattle 20. I hope I'm wrong. Prediction, Gurley man held under 100 yards rushing, and I will flip off the Rams sideline. Game ball to Lockett. All right, now team posse. And, of course, that means Matt, who is not here with us. Matt said, okay, on this week, so many key position losses, so many gaps to fill with high emotions both inside and outside the locker room against the 4-0 Rams on a record of 0-10 on third down conversions and missed field goals. Things look bleak, but this is the positivity channel, not the cold hard realism channel, people. So I predict the Seahawks win a tight battle of the turnover, 20-17. Game ball goes to Bobby Wagner. Prognostication, both teams suffer 3 turnovers in an ugly game of field position, and watch those yellow flags fly. Will, save us. Please.
Well, Moses, you look at this game logically, and there's just no way the Seahawks can win. So I'm picking the Seahawks. Everybody. I'm picking the Seahawks 31-28 because I don't care.
That's right.
My prognostication is we get the game-winning touchdown with less than 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and my game ball goes to Russell Wilson for leading that last-minute touchdown drive to win the game.
Wonderful. I love it. Statsman Mark.
Yes, sir. Well, let's see here. I'm gonna do something a little different because we're 18 points behind Team 12.
Yes, we are.
This is
Are you already qualifying your prediction because you're going to prick a loss, aren't you?
Well, but keep in mind too that usually what happens is opposite of what I say. So there's good kind of it's good tiki.
Good tiki.
But boy, yeah, I mean, yeah. To be honest, I do think this is going to be a tough game. I guess the Rams aren't perfect, but they're trucking. You mentioned, let's see, what was it? We were talking about a 30-20. We threw that out for the 50 over, right?
Yeah.
So in the interest of catching up, maybe, but we'll see if the opposite happens. I'm going to go 30-20 Rams. First time ever. I've said it out loud.
Okay, 30-20 Rams.
But keep in mind the opposite could very well happen.
Of course.
And I'm going to say that, let's see, Carson will rush at least one time. No, Carson will still manage. Is Carson and Davis, is it running back by committee or is one starting over the other? I think so,
probably, I would imagine.
Okay. I'm going to say let's see. I will say that Carson still manages to run for 100 yards. Okay. I think he'll have the breakout game. And then my game ball will go to, I'll give it to Carson.
Okay. Dustin?
Yeah.
What you got for me?
Positivity, because this is, like Matt said, a positivity channel. Apparently, the other people that are involved with this podcast did not get that message.
Yeah.
So
I hope they can sleep tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Seahawks are gonna win 24-17. Our defense is going to show up. They're going to do their thing. The 12s are going to help because this is the first time Los Angeles has played outside of California, and they haven't been challenged yet, really.
Okay.
We're going to do that for them.
All right.
And I'm going to say that Doug Baldwin's going to get his act together, and that dude will have 3 touchdowns is my prognostication.
Jeez.
Oh, wow.
And because of that, got the game ball.
Well, I would imagine 3 touchdowns he would. Do you have him on your fantasy team by chance?
No,
I do.
I don't.
Well, Mark's very happy.
Yeah.
All right. Mark's been very happy with that prediction. I love it. All right. Well, it's my time to predict, although after the way you bitches turned on me after my Jesus remark last week, I'm not sure if I should do this anymore. I mean, I don't know.
Bitches.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm doing it, Dustin. The Seahawks crucified the Cardinals last week in Arizona 20-17.
Oh, goodness.
I went there. In that game, we saw more bad kicking than a drunk 60-year-old former Rockette trying to relive her glory days. That's the old music for you. This week, we get the Los Angeles Rams and their quarterback, Jared Goff, who, by the way, attended Marian Catholic High School in Kentfield, California. So, you know, those Catholic boys start much too late, or is it girls? I don't know. Ask Billy Joel. I could care less. Anyway, the Rams coming to Seattle 4-0 and looking like they're ready to steamroll over the NFL on their way to the Super Bowl. But hey, isn't that what we were told about them last year? And how did that work out for them? 1-out in the playoffs, baby. That's how it worked out. Yeah, they learned a big record doesn't guarantee jack squat in the NFL. So you don't scare me, Los Angeles, with your Rams and your unmatching uniforms and helmets and
fake boobs,
and your coach who looks like he's just one man bun and a vaping cigarette away from pulling off the perfect LA douchebag look. Watch Russell Wilson, my game ball, show the new kids on the block the right stuff as he accounts for 4. Yes, you heard me. He accounts for 4 touchdowns running and throwing. That's my prognostication. And the Seahawks pull the red carpet out from the feet of the self-anointed NFC darlings by beating them by a score of Seattle Seahawks 34, Los Angeles Rams 31. Make it happen. All right. Well, guess what? It is time to bring another wonderful and amazing 12-man Fan Jam show to a sad close. We're glad you decided to waste some time with us. We hope you laughed a little and maybe you learned a little bit on this show this week. What did we learn? Well, we learned who is always on the road in the NFL. We learned what the heck dude wipes are, and we learned Mark finally gets the screw. We're so proud of him. And we learned that Brady Bunch Tiki music is for the win, and always we are a positivity channel, baby. So, on behalf of my partner in crime, Matt, who's not here, our new sound Shadowhawk Will, Statsman Mark, Dustin as the Beaver, Mike Pascal, Roger Goodell, Mark Ty Turner, Jose, Tom, Mozette, Little Mo, Vince Ferragamo,
wow,
Jack Youngblood. This is Moses saying until next time, go Hawks!
Hawks!
Go Hawks!
All right, come on. Slow clap it out, baby. Let's do it. Come on, guys.
Yeah, there's medicine for that.
Slow. We got... Yeah, there. Wait. We're getting it.
We rock in LA, so let's ram it today. Just ram it.